Hello and welcome to Henry Weston's Old Mate the podcast. This is going to surprise a few people because we're going to be talking, we're not talking turf, we're not talking addiction recovery, we're actually going to be talking a bit of booze here. You can see my friend Craig in the background. Before I pass you over to him, if you are watching us on YouTube, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. If you are listening to us by an audio podcast provider, please drop us a rating and a review. Just scroll down below the list of episodes and you'll be able to do the review stuff. Don't forget the podcast now has a Buy Me a Coffee page. If you log on to www.buymeacoffee.com, you can make a small donation to support the podcast. Our content will always be free. We will never hide it behind a paywall, but if you'd like to support us, we welcome that. Good afternoon, Craig. How are you, my friend?
Good afternoon, Stuart. I'm very, very well.
Now that we're recording, Craig, I didn't show you this before. I've made a little sign and it just says, I'm not Phil. So
Stuart.
There you go. Right. This is funny because we're not going to talk about me too much, but I am a recovering alcoholic.
We are going to talk about you.
I don't drink anymore. I'm enjoying this. For those of you who can't see, maybe listening, I've got a Peroni Libera 0%. That's all I'm allowed to enjoy anymore. Craig, what are you sampling?
I'm on an old speckled hen 5.0%.
So exactly 5% more than me. But Craig, you're sitting in the Furloughed or the Furloughed. Talk to me about, well, we're going to talk about everything. We've got a few maybe potentially more serious points we're going to get to later, but just...
Let's get the elephant out of the room first.
Go on.
What's your concept? Because obviously you're someone in recovery.
Yeah.
I'm someone that's probably on the way to rehab. Where do we meet? What's your...
Do you know, I thought about this and I thought, how am I going to... You know, if someone watches this and thinks, well, he goes on about recovery, should he be promoting out that, you know, someone like yourself who does enjoy, let's admit, getting a bit pissed from every now and again. But, you know, where we meet, Craig, is I'm not the beer police. I would still love to enjoy alcohol. I'm unfortunately not able to. But I still have the mentality and I still enjoy the humor of people who enjoy alcohol and enjoy it responsibly, potentially a little bit irresponsibly at times, but hey ho, there's worse things in the world. You know, for me, unfortunately, alcohol is the worst thing in the world, but for other people, they can enjoy it. And I love content like yours, Craig. That's where we meet, I think.
Well, that's answered that question then.
Yeah. Cheers. Talk to me about the Furloughed, how it came about. I mean, I'm assuming it came about because maybe you yourself were put on furlough, or just explain it to us.
I was furloughed. Our lad had chronic kidney failure.
Yeah.
So I was 8 months furloughed. He's very well now.
Good. Excellent to hear.
He had a kidney transplant and he's back at work and he's living his life. So that's good.
Good.
It was an accumulation of things. I wasn't on Twitter,
right,
for this. My God, something's coming through my phone then. I wasn't on Twitter before this. I was years ago.
Yeah,
but came a bit. Just ended up arguing with people about silly little things. I thought I can't be arsed with this. Not for me. I thought it was for celebrities. Twitter,
right.
Following celebrities and all that, so I left it anyway. And then before lockdown, my mate was showing me bootlegger videos, and I was like, I thought this bloke is just so funny. He's not trying to be funny.
Yeah,
he's just normal bloke having a drink. But I found that like really, really funny. And so he was my inspiration. You know, I'm not going to deny it. Bootlegger. Yeah. Probably seen, well, everybody's seen bootlegger videos. So yeah, that was that. And then also my wife was working from home. I wasn't able to work because I was furloughed. I'm an electrical contractor. So when I was furloughed, that was it. I was just at home.
Yeah.
So I was like, we all like to nip in the shed. for I thought I'm going to start making videos, and that's it. I've always done this as well.
Yeah,
I've been making stupid videos since devices were around. So something I like doing.
Fantastic. I've got a list. I've got 3 favorite videos in front of me, and we sort of touch on them briefly. The summer paddling pool on your back, creating a fountain.
Was my pin tweet. Well, I didn't even know what a pin tweet was, but I sort of worked it out and then put it. It went down. Well, I think it had 60,000 views or something ridiculous.
The next one on my list was the cider box. You ended up particularly worse for wear after that last summer, I believe.
Yes. Now, my wife doesn't know about this, and that'll lead me to another point, which is hilarious. But she'll know about it now because she wants to listen to the podcast. Yeah, did that one on the sly. Got absolutely trolleyed.
Yeah, and finally, it has to be.
I've deleted that video, I think.
Right.
At a moment of, sometimes I want to leave it all. I'm deleting everything. You know what we're like.
Yeah.
Third one.
The third one was, well, it was more than one, really. It was the episode of the Christmas keg. I mean, I was fortunate that I had a couple of weeks off over Christmas, which in sort of my industry, I work in golf courses. We don't tend to get all that much downtime over Christmas, but I had a couple of weeks off. So it obviously doesn't take 2 weeks to follow your Twitter videos, but I followed the story of the keg, and then the wonderful ending where it got wrapped up and sort of put in the boot of the car it is genius, isn't it? It's genius that appeals to certain people, comedy genius. Wow. But the sort of the next question, really, you answered it in a sense, because you said you've been doing these videos for as long as recording devices on phones was around. Did you ever think it had come to this? Not necessarily me inviting you on a podcast. We're a small podcast, but did you think you'd garner or gain the little Twitter following? You described Twitter as being, you thought, only for celebrities, and dare I say, you may have become a minor one yourself, Craig.
What about that? You know what? I didn't expect anything from it. So anything that comes is it. I never used to look at followers or anything, and then someone there sent me a message saying, "Well done, you've got 2,000 followers." I was like, "Abba." So I looked, and they had. Now, you're lying if you don't look at your likes and your followers, and because you do.
Yeah.
And I try and answer everyone. I try to talk to everyone, which is that bootlegger. He's got so big now. I mean, he couldn't even possibly reply to anyone. But I'm in a position now where I do like to talk to everybody that I can.
Yeah.
And it's a really good thing at the moment. It might not be in the future, but it is at the moment. Well,
that's it. I mean, you're fortunate enough. I think we're all fortunate enough with me and this podcast. I mean, I will do this podcast to the point that people get fed up of listening to it, or it becomes not fun for me anymore.
Absolutely. And I will do this as long as I enjoy it and other people do.
Well, I'm going to explain. So for those on the video, they can just look over Craig's right shoulder there. For people on the podcast, I'm pointing to a sign that says Pseudo Craig. It is a play on the universally known brand of Soda Cream. Craig, you're at the point now where people send you cool stuff through the post. I've got a hat over my right shoulder that someone in America sent me. Pseudo Craig, Pseudo Cream, for a man who enjoys potentially too many beers, but also spicy food. It's become, or always been, your best friend, has it? That substance?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Real and chili, yeah. It keeps you regular. So
let's on that sort of chili front, let's talk about last weekend. You went live for the first time, and I don't think I tuned in live. I tuned in and just caught up. I watched pretty much all of it, and then I went back, and as we were chatting midweek, I watched the final 15 minutes of you and the bear. attacking the wings, and you very bravely putting a brave face on that last one. How, obviously not going live. How was that for you? That was your first dabble into live. I won't call it live television, but you ended up, I think you peaked at sort of over 100 viewers, didn't you? And the comments were streaming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I didn't know how it was going to go. And I thought, well, like everything I've done, I'm not expecting anything from it. So if I get nothing, whatever, I'm not really that bothered. I sort of promoted it for a week or maybe 2 weeks. So this is coming. And people genuinely got interested in something to watch. And it's of a certain age, getting drunk, eating spicy food, it's appealing.
I mean, if you probably click into Google how to gain followers or gain likes on a video, I mean, anything that's gonna give you or allow you to see someone reacting negatively to a spicy food, a strong drink, something there, you know, if you put someone in a room with a spider and a snake and they don't like them, you're going to get the reaction that people are going to want to see. It might be millions, it might be 10, but it's, you know, it's clever in a sense, but it wasn't about that for you, I sense. I mean, you really got into it. You enjoyed it, didn't you? And if that was one person watching, I think that video, you would have been the same in that video if there's 1 or 1 million people viewing.
Absolutely. It didn't matter. That fell into my lap. I won that hamper off Dartmoor Chili.
Oh, okay.
They didn't give me that to promote there. I won it and I turned it into something else. So, and what I found is opportunities just keep hitting me in the face. So I'm just going to use them. I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to run with it, see where it goes, see where we end up. And now the wife's on board, it's a lot easier to do.
Yes, because in my initial notes to you, we chatted about this in December, and we thought we'd maybe put something together in December, and it didn't quite work. But then you got in touch with me again, and back then you sort of said in the reply to some long-winded notes I sent you that I probably wouldn't believe it, but the wife doesn't know. Would that suggest to me that she doesn't use Twitter, and maybe none of her friends use Twitter to then report back?
Thankfully not.
So, but how did you approach her with the idea for the live event, or was she getting a bit more clued up? Did she knew what was going on?
It literally changed weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it changed because of one man, Furloughed.
Yeah.
I've always done it. I'm not embarrassed about what I do. I've always been a big drinker.
Yeah.
She married me. It's not, I get in trouble like every other bloke about drinking too much, and I'm always hiding in the shed away from her.
Yeah.
That was that scenario. But then on top of that, I started making videos and sending letters. So it was like living in almost like I don't know. It was a strange scenario because I don't like lying to my wife, obviously. And 3 times I completely deleted my account. I can't do this. It's not fair. It's not fair that, you know, hundreds of people are seeing my face and she knows nothing about it. It didn't make any sense to me. And this is why now is a good time to do this podcast. Now it's a good time to talk about why I do it, because she's on board and she's interested in it. So the reason it changed was Phil Knott popped up on a video with my face on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I remember it well.
And I was sat in there next to the wife, and I just looked at her and I was like, I can't hide this anymore. This is ridiculous. So I showed her the video, and she went, "That's your face." Because I know. And she said, why have people got your face on the T-shirts? And I went, there's something we need to talk about. So I told her literally the whole. She sort of knew I was up to something, and I told her, because my phone, I don't have notifications on Twitter anymore because it would just be going off like a machine gun some days, not always. And so I I told her, yeah, and I said, look, this is what's happening, and this is what we call the furloughed arms, and yeah. But complete to my amazement, she was so on board, and then she came in on the live stream, and now she's like so interested in it. So, don't know. Well, yeah, I've got Phil not to thank for my
your status. Well, Phil's going to join us at the end of the podcast, not live. I have a question that Phil has posed, so we've got a question to end the podcast, but we're nowhere near ending the podcast. It's a next sort of question I want to ask. Again, you sort of touched on it. You'll do this until it stops becoming fun, so to speak. But do you feel a little bit of an obligation towards people now to put some videos out? I would imagine if you weren't to post a video for, let's say, a week, but your Twitter account was still open, I would imagine there would be questions asked as to where the content's gone.
Yeah. Well, I did fake my own death. I don't know if you saw it.
I can't picture that one. No.
I faked death and tried to frame Phil Knott. I don't know Phil Knott, but I thought it'd be good to. He sent me. He did actually try to kill me because he sent me some poison in a bottle and I drank it, and then I played Adele. This is the end. Very theatrical, like it can get in here sometimes, and I genuinely was gonna leave Twitter, but there's a problem with this. My brother, who was in the live stream, Bear.
Yeah,
Bear,
I didn't know Bear was your brother. I've missed that as well.
In my brother, we have the same parents. He gets inundated with messages about my whereabouts.
So you've got a fan base. We need to you need to try and keep them happy, but obviously you need to keep yourself happy as well. Talking about being happy, you've got an old speckled hen in your hand there. Are you I'd have said you're probably more of an ale drinker, but I have obviously seen you consume plenty of lager and plenty of cider. Is each day a different day? Are you a seasonal drinker, Craig, or how do you approach what goes in that glass?
Let's get one thing straight. I will drink anything.
I used to be like that.
Yeah, I will drink anything. I got into ale 10 years ago, and I find it's kinder on the body as you get older.
Yeah.
Less chemicals and some of the ales that are around now are, tasty. Lagers, I don't think lager really tastes anything.
No, I'd agree with you. I mean, I used to drink Stella in the pub basically because it had the strongest percentage on it. But I've always enjoyed this. I was a cider drinker. The stronger, the better. Obviously, Henry Weston, he was my old mate for many years.
8.2, yeah. I do like strong. I like strong beers, but I drink. The wife, she's annoyed at the way I drink because there's no limitations. I drink as fast as I want, as much as I want, and then send them to sleep.
So that's good because we got a couple of, I don't know if we'd call them serious points, but a couple of points that you wanted to make sure we included in our chat. And one of them was, that you have a addictive personality of sorts, as do I. I mean, I am addicted to alcohol, but I've been addicted to buying trainers in the past, buying football stickers and cards in the past. They were almost potentially addicted to exercise at some really low points in my life. That addictive personality, does that spill over into other aspects of your life? I mean, we don't want to describe you as addicted to alcohol, but would you say you go about things like when it's drinking, but then when other things potentially work or potentially other aspects of your life, that addictive personality crosses over into that?
Not addicted to work, I can assure you of that, but
me neither.
Yeah. I am a nightmare. Anything I do, I have to do to excess. So drinking, excess. I stopped drinking in the week.
Yeah.
Because it's a good thing. So from Monday to Wednesday, I didn't drink at all. And then, but I just drink more then, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But on the Monday to Wednesday, I've started buying self-help books, eating healthier, having a sober life. I've read that sober book. Forget his name now. It's quite interesting, actually. You know, I can't just have a couple of days off the beer. I've got to like change my mindset to stay off it and start thinking, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a different person, blah, blah, blah. I'm a nightmare. Everything I do. Since I can remember, very colourful life, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Things.
So
which I no longer.
Yes, I know exactly where you're coming from. I may have a similar background. Are you in a sense, you say you go fully at it? I mean, my dad, he used to share a bit of a passion of yours, and we're not going to talk about it much, but I want to say, you know, you and that we've seen you in the caravan going away for your trips. Are you the guy that's got everything in the caravan, you know, because you start something and then that caravan is full of all the good gadgets and everything, or does that not quite?
No, only things that soothe me.
Oh, okay. I'm with you. Right, that works actually. Going into the next point, any things that soothed me, the blinding juice. That I assume blinding juice can be associated with anything in a spirit form in a smaller glass. But your favorite tipple, Spanish based, I believe.
The Spanish brandy, the Fundador.
Yeah,
I do like it. I'm not mad for spirits, but I do like the odd shot.
Yeah, and the term blinding.
Right. Do you remember? I often, I'm forever watching comedy,
right?
And I often pick things off people, and which is, you know, not legal. There was a guy that used to send out these videos where he used to collaborate loads of videos. You'd be seeing you know that guy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And he was forever going on about blinding when they were ejaculating over the girl's face. Used to blind them. And I just picked it off that. And I thought, well, that goes with blinding. You know, you drink enough of it will make you blind, blah, blah. It just rolled onto that, and I called it the blinding. Yeah, that went a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably potentially could be described as your catchphrase, couldn't it? Or that's what people certainly jumped on board there. One thing I also used to sort of enjoy and still do when you do your beer reviews. Obviously, we only get, you know, a couple of minutes. Twitter, you have to limit your videos to 2 minutes 20. So it's a bit of a skill, isn't it, to get a beer review into 2 minutes 20. Have you been fortunate enough to have anything through the post to sample yet?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Freebees Brewery, give them a shout out. They sent me quite a bit of stuff. Wrexham Brewery, Bootleggers brand, Wrexham Brewery.
Yeah,
had stuff off them. Yeah, I've had quite a bit of bits and bobs, but I think they've got to be careful, haven't they? Because, you know, you get involved with the big boys, the breweries. I don't think they want to, because it's irresponsible drinking in my mind.
I think, yeah.
Hated with that.
Yeah.
Story. One guy asked me, he was like, I walked into a pub and he went, "You're Craig off Twitter?" I went, "Yeah." And he went, "I've got an estate agency. Would you mind," Simon, his name, he won't mind me saying, "would you mind advertising? If I pay you, I'll do some advertising for me." And I was like, "Listen, Simon, I'm not going to be very good for your estate agency campaign. Walk away." You know?
I mean, it's all very well laughing potentially and seeing one of your funny videos, but you're, like you said earlier, that you don't rehearse anything, so it's all pre. I can imagine towing the company line wouldn't probably fit the profile for the Furloughed.
Who knows where it would go? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
I've never rehearsed anything. I find off the cuff, as we are now.
Yeah.
Go by. It works, doesn't it? It's funny.
It does, mate. Really funny. What's not so funny are hangovers. You're probably dealing with a slightly one now. Do they get? Dare I say, you're probably a couple of years older than me. I'm 42 now, but I gave up drinking 4 years ago. Hangovers sort of got worse for me as I got older. Are you experiencing that yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, I'm complete hangover at the moment.
And how again, this is a comedy podcast today. We're not going to try and offer advice, but is there any advice out there for a hangover? Man up, deal with it.
Well, I don't recommend hair of the dog. Don't do that. We have to have some decorum. Yeah, fried food, painkillers, water. I drink. I flush myself every day. So, because I drink a lot of water. I eat vegetables. I don't eat fast food. And I try not to eat fast food. We have the occasional takeaway, but yeah, I do everything right apart from drinking too much.
Well, you're a dab hand in the kitchen, aren't you? Let's just. Yeah. Cooking's always. I imagine cooking's been a big part of my. When I left school, I sort of worked in kitchens on the weekend. I never went into it as a profession, but I enjoy cooking, and you do yourself. Are you the main cook? Well, you're away during the week quite a lot, aren't you? But do you?
I've been lucky enough to have quite a lot of local work for a few years, but yeah, it seems to have fizzled out now, so I'm away again. But I've been away literally all my life. So I was still erected before this. So I've always worked away, missed all the kids growing up, blah, blah, blah. And that's probably where, these bad habits come from, having no direction apart from four, blokes that want to go to the pub every dinner.
I mean, I spent 3 summers living in Holland, which was a fantastic experience. But I spent 1 and a bit years living in the Czech Republic, which, as we know, is the highest consumer of alcohol per sort of person in the world. That was the only time I've worked away and sort of lived on site in a all-male environment. There was 4 British staff, and we had a sort of staff of 7 local Czech guys. And that year and a bit was the most ridiculous non-alcoholic behavior, shall I say. I mean, I drank like an alcoholic then, but it was always in the pub. It was always social drinking. It wasn't hiding. It was man's drinking, shall we say? Please don't comment on man's drinking. But that was ridiculous. We finished work and there was always someone who wanted to go to the pub. So you just tagged along. It was 7 days a week for about 13 months of my life. And it was fun, but it was crazy.
So I grew up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, I mean, I'm going back a few years, but it was acceptable to drink at dinner time and go back to work.
Well, we had a guy, his name was Milan, and he used to drink, which I didn't realize is quite popular in the Czech Republic. He would start his day at 7 a.m. with a large 500ml bottle of lager. And I pointed it out to the only local guy, Peter, who spoke fluent English. And I said, Milan's having a beer, Peter, before work. And he just looked at me. He said, of course he is, Stuart. He always does. And that was certainly socially acceptable over there. And to not drink if you were out eating lunch in Czech, well, people might have questioned your manhood if you declined an alcoholic drink at lunchtime.
Yeah. Well, probably won't need a pension.
Let's move on to the last point that we wanted to make sure we covered, Craig. Internet trolls. You've got quite a few. You've got quite a few followers. You put quite a lot of content out. Have you come under the fire of the troll?
I have, yeah. And I think I just wanted to mention it because I don't know really. You can't expect it all to be your way. You forget that. This is such a volatile place, you know. So you can't. It's never all going to go your way, and I get that. But if they were to come to you with a bit of negative, you know, but constructive, yeah, I get that. But it's just a bit relentless, isn't it? With just this real hate. So I think you've got like a few categories of this. So you've got the one guy who's sat in his bedroom. He's probably been up for 4 days drinking Monster, wanking over pictures of his mum, just press the hate button constantly. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That, I can't be arsed with that. And then the other side of it, I mean, when I first started making videos, bootlegger, love him to bits, but people were just, you want to be bootlegger? They're just diehard bootlegger fans, and no one else is allowed to make videos and drink and get drunk. So that side of it, well, I don't know what you do with them, but you've got a block button. I use it often. Most of the time I try and follow them, retweet anything that they're doing just for jokes, just to try and give them a bit back. It does work sometimes. Other times it just won't leave you alone. So it's just a block button. But yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah, and then you've probably got the other. Yeah, there's potentially these guys who sit around and they're not out and out haters, but they just nip at you and they just want that reaction, don't they? They want to just try and ruin your day, but they don't want to be seen as coming straight at you, and they'll sit behind a sort of semi-aggressive tweet, hoping to get that aggressive reaction back to you, and then turn it around on you. And I was guilty, like you said earlier. I've been guilty of Twitter spats in the past, industry-based stuff and some stuff outside of my work environment. I look back at it now and think, what a waste of time. But then I also do think these people who sit out there and scan Twitter, they may just accidentally come across one of your videos and think that guy's going to have it today. I can't get my head around that mentality.
No, neither can I.
No.
And it can be quite hurtful. And I'm not saying it never bothered me, if I'm honest. I was going to sort, but it didn't really bother me. No.
So as we sort of come to the end of our chat, Craig, I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you. Future plans for the Furloughed. You don't rehearse anything. You've said that. Do you plan for the future, or is it all off the cuff? Is there anything in the pipeline that you'd want to share or tease your few thousand followers with?
Yeah, definitely going to do more live stuff. I love that. I love the interaction with people, bouncing off them. I'll have my brother down again. I've got there's a bloke that I might bring to the Furloughed. The wife's absolutely no. I'm not having people come here. And I sort of wanted to start having like guest appearances, but I'm not a fucking Terry Wogan, as you can be. So maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm going to do the live stuff again. We've got one coming up in 2 weeks, which I haven't released yet. I'm going to do that again because it was hilarious. Other than that, no, got no plans really. See where it goes.
Okay, well that's certainly wonderful to hear that you'll be going live again. And to end the podcast, I reached out to Phil, and he was kind enough to ask a question. I reached out to 3 other people, and 2 of them came back to me and they said they'd ask questions, but I haven't received them, so I can't ask you. And I think maybe the nature of some of your followers, Craig, perhaps I picked the wrong time to ask it. They may very well have woken up the next day and completely forgotten our Twitter conversations. But Phil did send a question. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read it out. And he sent a wonderfully funny video. So I will then edit that into this space now where I'm asking you the question. And that'll be quite a funny end. But all he wanted to know was, Phil not wanted to know exactly when, or if you can remember, when you started blinding.
What, in the Furloughed?
Well, I think ever. I mean, was
by Stu to ask you a question regarding the podcast. So, my question is, when did you first start blinding? Answers on a postcard. But got an extra little special treat. I think the sales of this are going to go up this month somewhat. A shot of the Spanish sunshine. All the best. Looking forward to the weekend, Craig, and the Furloughed.
No. Well, that's a lie, really. So what happened was I'm involved with a WhatsApp group called the Gaspers. These are all people that I know. I've never met a lot of them, but I know them. They live around this area, and we have a WhatsApp group called the Gaspers, and everybody is mad on the drink. And we used to do shots just for the sake of it. I think that's where it started. Yeah, they sort of overspilled into... It's the quickest, what it is, Stuart, it's the quickest way to get drunk and go and sit back down without you missing.
Yeah, no, I'm not all for it now, but I certainly used to be. And another question that did come up in a conversation I was having with a guy behind the scenes for this, and it was quite simply, if Bear was drowning in the sea and you had a pint glass in each hand, would you put either of them down?
No.
Sorry, Bear. Craig, it's been a fantastic chat. I will direct everyone over, I will put a few links in the show notes. I will certainly direct people to your Twitter account. Like Craig said, in 2 weeks, he hopes to go live again. I'm sure he will share in the coming weeks the sort of content angle on that. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed our content, drop me a follow on Twitter, like Henry Weston's Old Mate, the podcast. Craig, anything you want to touch on before we close the bar?
All the Furloughed.
Yeah. Well said. Craig, thanks so much for joining me. Thank you everyone for listening and watching to Henry Weston's Old Mate, the podcast.
Thanks, Stu. Brilliant, mate.
Cheers, mate.